Alright, I'm not a professional speaker or anything, so my name is Jackie, and I'm from Warrensburg. I've lived here for 13 exciting years, so that means I went to elementary school here, high school here, or middle school, then high school, and I just graduated in December from UCM, so that's pretty cool. But the reason that I'm here today, okay, everyone hear me now? Okay. Well, the reason that I'm here today is so that I can share kind of my story, but basically what I'm here to say is that when I was 15 years old, I was raped. And I wasn't raped by a stranger, I wasn't raped by someone that jumped out of the bushes or anything like that, although that does happen, but I was actually raped by one of my best friends. I had known him for 6 or 7 years, and we were always inseparable. We had a group of friends, and it was just, I always thought he was just a really great guy. And I guess what happened was, well, I was 15, so that means I was a sophomore in high school, and we had just left his birthday party, and we were walking home and stuff, and I remember the last thing that I ever told him and my other friend that walked with me was how much I loved them because they were like my brothers, and that I knew they'd always take care of me, and so he definitely did not do that, but I guess for me, one of the hardest parts of being, I guess, a survivor of rape was since I was in high school at the time, and he went to high school with me, I had to see him every day for the next 3 years, and it was really awful. I dropped out of all of my honors courses, I dropped out of all my dual credit courses. If I ever had a class with him, I had to drop out of it. I was afraid to walk in the halls by myself. I was afraid. I dropped out of a library class because I had this fear of, what if he comes in to check out a book? You know, what am I going to do? How am I going to look at him? And one thing that was really hard for me was that since he was my friend, and even though I told him no several times and tried to hit him, and that didn't quite work out for me, and I know there's a lot of girls out there who, for whatever reason, are unable to say no or don't say no, or can't fight or don't fight, and I know a lot of girls beat themselves up because they think, well, I should have hit harder, I should have said no louder, I should have done something different. But there's nothing that you can do. I mean, you can. It's just I don't think people should beat themselves up for something like that, because people that do stuff like that are they're horrible people. But I guess also the other reason that I'm talking is just to say that someday, I know there's people out here who are definitely survivors of some kind of violence, whether it's sexual or physical, but particularly those of you out there, if you've been raped or if you've been sexually assaulted, my biggest thing is I just want you to know that if it happened, yesterday, last weekend, 6 years ago, 10 years ago, that you can be okay, that, it's going to be really hard, it's going to be a long, tough journey, but you can definitely make it, you can definitely be okay. And I do think that time heals things, but I think one thing that is very important for people that have been raped or sexually assaulted, or any other kind of personal violence like that, is that the best thing to do is to reach out, talk to someone. If you have to read a book, perhaps. There are books that I read, for anyone out there, maybe. There was a book called Recovering from Rape. That's a really good book. And there's another really good book called I Never Called It Rape, and those are really good books to read. But once you can get past that, if you can read, maybe find a friend that you can talk to about it. Maybe they can help you. For me, it took me about, I think it took 5 years for me to finally seek counseling, and I went to MOXA, which is the Metropolitan Organization to Counter Sexual Assault. They're out of Kansas City, and that's because at the time that was the only place I knew, but luckily here, for those of you that are students on campus, we do have the counseling center, and there's some awesome people here from the counseling center, and they can definitely help you with that sort of thing. But that's a really good step, I think, to take. But I think once you start sharing with other people, or not other people, maybe just a friend, maybe your cat, I don't know, your dog, whatever, just let someone know, and then you'll create a web of support, and things will get easier for you. You won't have to carry the shame, you won't have to carry the guilt, you won't have to beat yourself up anymore about it. And I guess the biggest thing is just, if there's anyone out there that ever, if you are feeling bad about that, just reach out to someone, anyone, talk to them. You can go to, like I said, the Counseling Center. You can talk to me. My name's Jackie Knott. It's spelled N-O-T-T. I'm on Facebook, so you can talk to me there, or you can email me. My email is diligentsloth@gmail.com. But I guess all I'm here to say is that, rape happens, it can happen to anyone. I never thought it would happen to me, but it did. And you can be okay. And I think that's the biggest thing I want people to know. So.